My name is Nazhira Sabila, number 190211103 from School of Business and Management Institute Teknologi Bandung. And right now I'm going to present for my final project, how is the Indonesian luxury brand market impacted by the utilization of social media? Firstly, abstract. This research explores the impact of social media on luxury fashion brands in Indonesia, focusing on the relationship between purchasing decision, content, consumer interactions, and influencers. The study uses primary data from questionnaires distributed to respondents using purposive sampling and a dual linear regression model. Results show a significant relationship between purchase decision, consumers' interaction, and content. The findings provide guidance for luxury brand managers in Indonesia to optimize their social media strategies, focusing on increasing customer interactions, creating engaging content, and selecting the right influencers to drive consumers' purchasing decisions. This research contributes to the marketing literature by expanding understanding of how social media elements significantly influence purchasing decisions in the luxury brand market. Now we're going to start from Chapter 1, Introduction. 1.1 Background. The use of social media has significantly impacted the marketing sector, particularly in the fashion industry. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest allow brands to reach global audiences quickly and effectively, enabling them to penetrate consumers from brand awareness to promotions. This has a strong influence on luxury fashion brands, which have unique dynamic characteristics. The momentum in which a brand is represented on social media is crucial, as the number of users continues to increase. With around 4.662 billion social media users worldwide, luxury goods companies' relationship through branding, Indonesia, with its high internet and social media penetration, is one of the countries with the highest growth in the luxury goods market. Research shows that 92% of consumers who actively use social media trust reviews from influencers as a reason for purchasing a product. This research is expected to help luxury fashion brands utilize social media not only for communication and marketing, but also to build strong long-term relationships and advocacy. 1.2 Problem Statement. So this research explores the impact of social media on luxury fashion brands in Indonesia, as I mentioned before, focusing on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It addresses the knowledge gap in previous studies, which mainly focused on brand awareness, promotion, and engagement, but not on specific business variables like brand loyalty, sales conversion, and customers advocacy. 1.3 research question. For this dissertation, I'm just going to use one research question, which is, what is the social media implementation strategy used by luxury fashion brands in potential customers? 1.4 research objective. This research explores the impact of social media on luxury fashion brands in Indonesia, focusing on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It investigates consumers' perception of these brands' action, highlighting the significant role of influencer reviews in purchasing decision, a finding not previously studied. Now moving on to Chapter 2, Theoretical Foundations. 2.1 Customers Interaction. Gody et al. 2016 study examined the impact of social media marketing on brand equity and consumers' behavior, focusing on luxury brands in China, France, India, and Italy. The research used structural equation models to analyze gaps and previous research and examine marketing strategies on social media, focusing on brand preferences, price premium, and loyalty. The study used 5 categories, which are entertainment, interactions, trends, customization, and word of mouth. The research found that social media marketing strategies positively influence brand equity and consumers' perception on branded products, with brand loyalty, consumers' preference, and willingness to pay premium prices. The study also examined well-known luxury brands like Burberry, Dior, Gucci, Hermes, and Louis Vuitton. Socio-demographic factors such as gender, age level, and education also played a significant role. So before we're moving on to the next subchapter, I'm going to explain for this chapter, I'm going to define each variables related to the literature review that I've been do some research before, like this. 2.1, customers interaction as one of my variables that I'm going to explain later on the next chapter. Okay, 2.2, content. Cited by Cornea et al. 2022 study examined the impact of social media marketing or SMMA and Instagram influencers on purchase intention of big brands. The study used purposive sampling and the smart PLS3 analysis tool to analyze 120 people. The research aimed to evaluate brain acts and determine the most effective online marketing approach to enhance product marketing. The study highlights the importance of brand equity in EU-WOM, electronic word of mouth, and the positive influence of marketing activity variables on consumers' purchase intentions. The study also explored the relationship between SMM activities and value equity, relationship equity, brand equity, consumers' equity, and consumers' purchase intentions in the luxury fashion market. The study's limitation include the limited number of respondents and focus on specific fashion brand. Future research should expand the scope to different industries and increase the number of respondents. Also, we have Ahmad et al. 2023 found that social media, particularly online groups, play a significant role in influencing consumers' perspectives on contemporary luxury goods. The study measures the extent of the impact of social media marketing activities on luxury fashion brands and how they relate to purchase intentions and brand equity. The research examines the relationship of social media marketing activities carried out by luxury fashion brand companies on value equity, relationship equity, brand equity, customers equity, and consumers purchase intentions through the structural equation method. So in conclusion, social media has become a crucial tool for luxury fashion brands to connect with consumers, strengthen relationships, and increase brand exposure. Next, we have influencers. Cited from Renata et al. 2017 found that social media marketing by luxury brands positively impacts customer purchase intentions and equity. Young adult customers believe luxury brands provide more value in value equity and relationship equity than brand equity. Luxury brands like Burberry, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Gucci, Hermes, and the other are actively involved in social media marketing, influencing customer preferences and purchasing intention. From Pantina et al. 2018, analyzed consumers' engagement in the luxury goods space, finding that social media has become an essential tool for developing and maintaining relationships between brands and consumers. The research highlights the importance of personalizing consumers' engagement and understanding their preferences to develop effective market strategies. Next, purchase decision. Luxury fashion brands are increasingly utilizing influencer and celebrity collaboration as a marketing strategy to connect with potential consumers. Celebrities bring instant recognition and a sense of aspirational lifestyle to the brand, while social media influencers can cultivate trust and authenticity. These partnerships allow luxury brands to reach a wider audience and tap into their established follower base, ensuring their message resonates with a specific target audience. Now we're moving on to Chapter 3, Research Design and Methodology. (3.1) variable. So I'm going to use 4 variables The first one is variable Y, which is purchase decision. Purchase decision is a process in which consumers determine whether to buy a product or service after going through a series of stages in the consumer's decision-making process. And then for variable X1, customer interaction. Customer interaction is all forms of communication and contact that occur between customers and companies, either directly or through digital media such as social media. For variable X2, content. The concept of aesthetic has been present in luxury fashion brands for years. And the last one for variables X3, which is influencers. The exclusivity and prestige created by luxury fashion brands is a well-crafted part of their identity. 3.2 Scope of research. This research covers the influence of customers' interaction, content, and influencers on sales to purchase decision in luxury brand marketing. For 3.3 Population and sampling, the population in this study were all respondents who met several criteria. The sampling technique used is the purposive sampling technique with the following criteria. 1. Active users of social media such as Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. 2. The relevant age range from 18 until 35 years, involved in the consumption of luxury fashion products. 3. Have experience or interest in using or purchasing luxury fashion products. 4. Various educational and economic backgrounds, but able to access social media. 5. Willing and able to participate in research by filling out questionnaires or participating in interviews. The numbers of samples or respondents in this study was 100 people. Now for 3.4 data type and source. This research covers the influence of customer interaction, content, and influencers on sales to purchase decision in luxury brand marketing. 3.5 data collection techniques. The data collection technique used in this research was by distributing questionnaires. And hereby, I already attached the link, the Google Form link that I've used for the research. 3.6 data analysis techniques. This research uses a quantitative approach using a linear regression analysis model, which consists of the following stage. 1. Descriptive statistical analysis. This technique analyzes data by providing an overview or description of the average, mean, maximum, minimum, and standard deviation values. 2. Classic assumption tests, which consists of normality tests. Normality tests used to determine whether or not there are confounding variables that have a normal distribution in the regression model. Values are considered normally distributed if the significant value is more than 0.05 and abnormal if the value is less than 0.05. Cite from Armerheim et al. 2017. Next, we also use multicollinearity test and then heteroscedasticity test. And from heteroscedasticity test, it consists of 1, if there are certain balls such as dots that form a certain pattern, wavy, widening, and narrowing, then it can be concluded that heteroscedasticity has occurred. And 2, if there are balls that spread above and below the number 0 on the y-axis, then it is concluded that heteroscedasticity doesn't occur. Next, number 3, I also use multiple linear regression analysis. So it is an extension of the regression method in variable analysis, which is usually used to test the influence of 2 or more independent variables on the dependent variable by using an interval or ratio measurement scale in the equation. And the regression model is as follows. 1. Data processing. 2. Interpretation of result. Next, I also use test the coefficient of determination, or R2. It is a measure that shows how far the model's ability to explain the dependent variable with the value of the coefficient of determination between 0 and 1. The steps in the coefficient of determination test include 1. Calculating R2 using statistical software to calculate the R square value of this regression model. 2. R square value interpretation. The R square value range between 0 and 1. A value close to 1 indicates that the independent variable explains most of the variability in the dependent variable. Next, I also use F-test. This test aims to test whether there is an influence of all independent variables on the dependent variable as formulated in simple linear regression equation model, which is correct. And then lastly, I use t-test. This test is used to find out whether the independent variable can significantly influence the dependent variable. An independent variable can have a significant impact on the dependent variable individually. Now we're moving on to chapter 4, finding and discussion. 4.1 Descriptive Statistical Analysis. The aim is to test and explain the observed sample characteristic. The result of descriptive statistical tests are usually in the form of a table containing at least the name of the observed variable, mean, standard deviation, maximum, and minimum, which are analyzed using SPSS. And as you can see, the following is a presentation of descriptive statistic presented in the table below. Based on the table above, it shows that the data used is 100 data from 100 respondents. The result of descriptive statistical analysis from the table above can be explained. A, based on the result of this descriptive statistic, it appears that out of 100 data, the customer interaction variable shows a minimum value of 7 from respondents 51 and 85. The maximum value is 20 from respondents 15, 17, 62, 68, and 80. The mean value is 14.64 and standard deviation of 3.177. The average value tends to be greater than the standard deviation value. And also, etc., etc. 4.2 Data Normality Test. So, it concludes that the test distribution is normal. Based on the table on the screen, the results of the Kolmogorov-Smirnov normality test data in the table above shows that the amount of data in the study is 100. The significance value, as SIMSIG, shows a figure of 0.803. This shows that significance value is greater than 0.05, which means the residual data is normally distributed. And also we have table 1.3 validity test. And also reliability test. 4.3 heterogeneity test. This test aims to find out whether the regression model created has a relationship between the independent variables or independent variables and a dependent variable, aka the dependent variable. Based on the Glaser test above, all the customer's interactions, content, and influential variables shows values greater than 0.05, namely 0.517, 0.568, and 0.137, which means the heterogeneity test doesn't occur. Next, multicollinearity test. This test aims to find out whether the regression model created has a relationship between the independent variables or independent variables and the dependent variable, aka the dependent variables. Based on the test result in the table above, the tolerance value for the customer interaction, content, and influencers variable shows a number higher than 0.10, meaning that there is no multicollinearity. Then the VIF value of the customer's interaction, content, and influencers variables shows a number less than 10. This states that this research model has no correlation between the variables. Next, 4.5 multicollinearity linear regression analysis. This is used to test the influence of independent variables, namely customers' interaction, content, and influencers on the dependent variable, namely purchase decision. Based on the table above, it can be seen that customers' interaction value, beta 1 value, shows a value of 0.294. The content value is 0.124. The content value is 0.211, so that the multiple linear regression equation can be obtained as follows. Y equals 4,306 plus 0.294 customers interaction plus 0.124 content plus 0.211 influencers. And based on the result of the multiple linear regression analysis above, it can be explained. 1, the constant value is 4.306. And this shows that when all independent variables have a value, the value of purchase decision increases by 4,306. 2, the regression coefficient value for the followers variable is 0.294. This value shows that when customers' interaction increases by 1 unit, the purchase decision variable increases by 0.294, assuming all other independent variables are constant. Next, the regression coefficient value for the content variable is 0.124. This value shows that when content increases by 1 unit, the purchase decision variable increases by 0.124, assuming all other independent variables are constant. And lastly, the regression coefficient value for the influencers variable is 0.211. This value shows that when influencers increase by 1 unit, the purchase decision variable increases by 0.211, assuming all other independent variables are constant. And for the hypothesis test, the first one is model accuracy test or F-test. This is aiming of testing whether the influence of all independent variables on one dependent variables as formulated in the multiple linear regression equation model is appropriate or fit. For table 1.8, the F-test, based on the table of model accuracy test result above, it can be concluded that all independent variables have an influence on purchase decision. This is shown in the significant value of 0.000, which is smaller than 0.05. For the next table, determination coefficient test, R square. This is a quantity that shows the proportion of variation in the independent variable that can explain the variation in the independent variable. The following is a presentation of the coefficient of determination test, which is presented in the table below, which are table number 1.9. As you can see, the result of the coefficient of determination test above shows a value of 0.527, which means that 52.7% of the independent variables, 52.7% of the independent variables influence purchase decision, and the remaining 47.3% is influenced by other independent variables. And for the last tables, on 1.10 variable significance test or t-test, this table aims to test the significance of the influence of each independent variables on a dependent variable formulated in the model. So if the analysis results show a p-value less than 0.05, then the influence of the independent variable on the dependent variable is statistically significant at an alpha level of 5%. As you can see on the table 1.10, the test table, based on the result, the following conclusion is: 1, customer interaction shows a significant value of 0.000. The significance value is smaller than 0.05, which means the consumer's interaction have an influence on purchase decision. So the first hypothesis, or H1 in this research, is accepted. Next, content shows a significance value of 0.009. The significance value is smaller than 0.05, which means that content has an influence on purchase decision. So the first hypothesis in this research is accepted. I mean the second hypothesis. And then next, influencer shows the significance value of 0.003. The significance value is smaller than 0.05, which means that influencers have an influence on purchase decision. So the first hypothesis, H3 in this research, is accepted. Now we're moving on to 4.7 subchapter, which is discussion. So among the explanations of the simultaneous and partial test result are as follows. First one, influence of customers' interaction on purchase decision. The customer interaction t-test result indicate that customer interaction influences purchase decisions. Luxury brands with a higher number of interactions can gain more profits. The mean value is 14.64 with a standard deviation of 3.177. The regression coefficient value is 0.294, indicating that when customers' interactions increases, the purchase decision variable also increases. 2, influence of content on purchase decision. The content t-test results shows a significance value of 0.009, indicating that content influences purchase decisions. The mean value is 32.31 with a standard deviation of 4,047. The regression coefficient value is 0.124, indicating that higher content leads to higher purchase decision. And 3, influence of influencers on purchase decision. The study found that influencers significantly influence purchase decision with a significance value of 0.003. Luxury brands can leverage influencers to gain profit by increasing content promotion. Influencers drive brand awareness, trust, engagement, and purchase decision. By understanding influencer marketing dynamics, brand can effectively reach and resonate with their target audiences in a competitive marketplace. This understanding empowers brand to forge authentic connections, foster consumer trust, and drive sustainable growth in the digital age. And now, finally, we reach the last chapter, which is chapter 5, conclusion. 4.1 conclusion. So the first one, there is a significant influence between customer interaction and purchase decision. The study reveals that customer interaction and content play a significant role in influencing purchase decision. The mean value of customer interaction is 14.64 with a standard deviation of 3,177. 3.177. A significant increase in customer interaction leads to an increase in purchase decision, indicating that luxury brands can effectively utilize their customers' interaction in marketing. Luxury brands with a large number of followers can build stronger connections with potential consumers, educate them about their products, and drive sales and brand loyalty. And next, number two, there is a significant influence between content and purchase decision. Content also plays a significant role in purchase decision. The mean value of content is 16, and the maximum value is 39, with an average value of 32.31 and a standard deviation of 4.047. A significant increase in content leads to increased sales. Luxury brands can effectively use attractive visual content and aesthetic to capture attention, convey brand identity, elicit emotion, and create desire, effectively engaging and entice consumers, driving sales, and reinforcing brand equity in a competitive luxury market. Okay, so uh, this is my final project. Thank you for your attention.